Hi, welcome to another edition of One Side SA, where we obviously start off with who's left and who's not budge, and it was very close for excuse me, the bulk of people who are Man City and Liverpool.
Yeah. Well, with 20 minutes to go, I think we could have been starting a competition next weekend or 2 weeks' time. It's an international break, but they both squeaked in.
114 when squeaked in.
Well, Liverpool were the flukiest one of the
Yeah.
two, but Paul, it's all about getting through. Don't worry about the
those who had Liverpool got through in the 94th minute.
Yeah.
Those who had Spurs went out in the 97th minute.
97th, yeah.
Yeah, so the guys that went out were Arsenal, West Ham, Man United and Tottenham.
Yeah.
56 went out. So, Budge, we're down to 226.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, from just under 440, Paul.
Okay, so very, very good. So we're halfway, 50% are gone. Get your bets in. We've got our international pundit in the London studio, Stevie B, is going to be talking to us. And Budge, let's just talk, before we get on there, the last one standing.
Yeah.
You've listed the players doing well. Anthony Sewer.
Well, I spoke to Ant yesterday. Normally he puts 5 on the good things, but he split his picks with Leicester.
Yes.
Man City, Leicester. So,
Ant's been up there for many times. He just hasn't closed the deal.
Yeah.
Raymond Horn's been up there a few times.
Well, Raymond's had a lot to say. If ever one of my Durban North boys is going to win, it can only be Raymond.
Is that right?
Yeah, he knows his football.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah, everybody loves Raymond, yeah.
Jerome Naidu? I don't know.
Jerome, one of the
3 out of 3.
boys. Yeah, he's done great.
Colin Gordon, 3 out of 3.
Yeah, done well, Colin.
Who does he support?
Leeds, I think.
Wolves.
Okay.
Willowers. When Wolves beat United one day, Ward on TV.
Okay, fair enough.
Steve Potter.
That's our man, Steve, Mandine Steve, yeah.
Yeah,
Paul, there were some guys who had more picks, but they put all 4 Man City. To me, that's sort of performance. I know they stayed in, but those guys used lesser teams.
Tougher now. Sometimes you put 4 in there thinking you go through.
Yeah.
Like Michel Narek loves his lump on. He always goes out.
Yeah.
His name never gets the highlights.
No,
but I see the toad favourite's Garth Whitehead.
Paul,
Colours.
known as Fafo. He was the first guy that ever gave me his 100 Rand at Stella one night. He said, I'm in. He's been in every competition. He's never got past round 2. This is the first time he's got to round 3.
Can't win.
Paul, Leicester won the league at 5,001. You never know with Garth.
Colours, can't win. Lovely guy, can't win. Right, let's see if we got Stevie B in the studio.
Good morning,
Steve.
Morning, Steve.
How are we?
Yeah,
morning,
very
both.
good. We agreed we wouldn't talk rugby, so we're going to get on to...
There's nothing to say.
It wasn't a good weekend for you, Steve.
No, definitely not. It didn't get any better going to watch Fulham play, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we had them in our beds too, so we know how you feel.
Were they ever in it?
Well, to be fair, I mean, again, it seems to be the story of a lot of our games. We had 75% possession, and they just sat back and caught us on the break. So at 1-0, we had a number of chances to get back in the game, but they scored a very good second goal, and then we sort of ran out of ideas the last 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, let's hope it turns to, because I'd like to see them back in the top league. But Budge has written out some very interesting show topics here.
Sure.
The Granit Xhaka, what is the situation? I watched him last night, Arsenal. I see Holding was captain, is that right?
Yeah, well, evidently they have a number of captains now. Okay. So I think the captain going forward initially is going to be Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is going to be the captain, whether that's a good call or not. But Xhaka was stripped of the captaincy. He's been dropped the last couple of games. He's sort of come back with a half-hearted apology, but I don't think that's been good enough, and it certainly wasn't timely enough. So there's not a very good atmosphere there, and the press seem to have their knives out for Unai Emery. They really don't seem to think that he's taken Arsenal forward after sort of the Wenger era. So things, and actually the press have been linking Mourinho with the job, which is interesting, although he's been very quiet on it. So, it remains to be seen what's going to happen there, but it's not an overly happy camp, I don't think.
Yeah, talking to Mourinho, Steve, Bayern Munich's avavelable.
Well,
I think he'd be a...
Yeah, I mean, that's I mean, they are obviously one of Europe's big clubs. Yeah. I think the other person I saw has been linked with it is Allegri.
Okay.
Which is would be a good move, I think, for them and him, potentially. So, I mean, they've had a bit of a wobble. I mean, in the Bundesliga, it's not as if they've fallen away. Yeah. They pretty much through qualified in the Champions League, so it's not like a disastrous season for them. But they're obviously keen to make a change fairly early on.
Yeah, Steve, I see Liverpool. They couldn't get their decision upheld, so they've got to play 2 games in 2 days.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it seems to be, talking to 1 or 2 Liverpool fans and reading the press, I think a lot of Liverpool fans really think they should actually have a stronger team in the EFL Cup rather than the World Club Championship, because for me these World Club Championship games, they're more like glorified exhibitions. There isn't really there's no real kudos to say, oh, we're the best team in the world, because they might as well have gone back to as they used to have. It's just play against the winners of the Copa Libertadores. So I think Liverpool could manage this. I think they've given the impression they might play a similar team that they put out against Arsenal. So they could do that. I'm assuming that whatever team they put out in the World Club Championship semi-final should be strong enough, because they're going to play, I don't know if the draw's done, but they're going to play somebody, for me, the Central America or Oceania, let's say. And then they've got any players they want would be available for the final a few days later. So I think they can do it. They've got a big enough squad.
Yeah, they haven't got many injuries like Man City.
Yeah, what is the story of the injury? Sorry, Steve, I'm just butting in. I didn't watch the Man City game last night. I just caught a couple of highlights, but with the goalkeeper, there was Spurs guy in goals. What's the story there?
So the goalkeeper went off at half time, so that was fine. They brought on Bravo in the second half, but he got sent off a few minutes in time, and obviously they had no substitute goalkeeper. So actually, Carl Walker went in goal, which he has done. Evidently he quite likes playing in goal a bit, but he didn't have much to do. Had a few touches of the ball, and actually that was a game. I saw some of that game, particularly the first half. And City should have been 3 or 4 up at half time. They were so far clear and missed a poor penalty. Jesus took one of the worst penalties I think I've seen in a long time. And actually they sort of, Atalanta, were back in the game early in the second half.
Talking of...
just stay with him. What other players would they have in the injury list coming against Liverpool this weekend?
Well, I think defensively is where they've obviously got the issue, because they're still going to be without Laporte, which I think is a big miss for them. So that's, I think, that really is, and he's obviously out for a little while now. I think that's their big concern at the back. Obviously up front they've got a surplus of players that they can play, and probably midfield as well. But I think defensively is where the issue is. And it remains to be seen what the issue is with the goalkeeper as to whether he's available or not at the weekend.
So you think it'll be Fernandinho and Otamendi, or do you think he'll change it?
Where's Stones?
Well, Stones is fallen out with him.
Stones, yeah, he just seems to have fallen down the pecking order a little bit. Yeah. Liverpool going to throw everything at them. Otamendi is to me, at times, is a bit of a weak link, but he played them. You just think he's got to have a pairing that he's played together a few times. So it wouldn't surprise me if he keeps that same centre half pairing.
Yeah, I agree. Did you watch the Chelsea-Ajax game, Steve, on Tuesday?
I did. I mean, a tremendous entertainment. You at 4-1, even though Chelsea had a few chances just before they got the fourth, you thought, well, that's game over. Got it back to 2-4, and then Ajax had like a mad sort of 2 minutes, and all of a sudden, Chelsea are back in the game. Ajax down to 9 men. When the fifth goal went in, and before we realised it was disallowed, you thought, well, this is it, it's all over. But actually, after that, Ajax had a couple of chances themselves. And dug in. It was a very, very entertaining game, and I think Chelsea needed that point, because that group is very, very poised, and I think that Chelsea's next match against Valencia, away at Valencia, is crucial, because they lose that and they could well be out. So I think that point was absolutely important for them.
Yeah, I watched the ex-manager Conte. He was in charge of Inter Milan against Dortmund.
What a game.
And that was the game I watched. 2-0 up and cruising. All of a sudden, 2-1 after half-time.
3 goals second
half. He made changes I just couldn't believe. Lukaku never got much of a touch, but towards the end they were hanging on. He takes all the forwards off, and he couldn't get out.
Couldn't get the ball played out.
Just kept knocked up, and I was actually disappointed in Inter Milan. The only thing is, I don't think they'll qualify And I think they'll win the Europa League, Steve. So if you see any betting coming out
I think you're right. I don't think they will qualify now.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a pretty good week for the English clubs because Liverpool and City are pretty much there. I think Tottenham have got it in their own hands. I mean, they beat Olympiacos at home when they do play them. I think they'll go through. But I think Chelsea, that Chelsea game at Valencia is going to be absolutely key for them. And I think that's, obviously having lost to them at home in the first game, they can't afford to lose in Valencia because that's going to determine whether they go through or not.
Yeah, you're right. Steve, the big game of the weekend is obviously Liverpool-Man City.
Yeah.
How do you see that going?
Yeah, what's your opinion?
Well, I mean, that really is a big game as well early in the season. And obviously neither team wants to lose because obviously if City lose that, Liverpool are, certainly pulling away. And if Liverpool lose, then City are on their coattails. I think Liverpool would be certainly happier to get a point there. But, they haven't been at their best, Liverpool. They're winning games. I mean, they obviously at Villa last week left it very late. But City, again, like yesterday, I watched some of the first. They played some lovely football in the first half, and then just seemed to run out of steam a bit in the second. And Atalanta sort of made a game of it. But I think it's going to be a cracking game. I think there'll be goals.
Who do you back, Steve? Who are we putting our money on?
I've actually got this down as a draw in my mind. I just think I think there's a lot to choose between them. I mean, Liverpool have done well against them at home, but it depends if Liverpool can find another level that they haven't found in recent weeks, then they could well win it. But I think if they play as they have done, City will definitely get something there.
Yeah, Liverpool haven't lost at Anfield in the last 43 games.
Yeah.
In all competitions, that's some record.
No, it's a fantastic record there. But they've been lucky.
Yeah.
And away from home, Southampton they shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
The English should have scored.
But Paul, that's league-winning teams, isn't it?
Yeah. They shouldn't have won this week.
Sheffield
No, I agree with you. And
United,
listen, I'm a great fan of Klopp. He's made a good job of it. And Budge, he is the champions of Europe.
Yeah.
They are the champions of Europe.
Yeah.
I just think. As a Spurs supporter, I watch Spurs. They're terrible, not bad. Terrible. You're a Man United supporter. They're terrible. Now you look at Liverpool and you've got to be objective and say they aren't playing well. They might be getting results. Yeah. They're not playing well.
Yeah.
Well, I think they would, look, at the end of the day, even if they don't play well, if they found a way to win, they would take that. Yeah. Because obviously the result itself is all important. City can't afford to lose it, so it does make you wonder. And City's best tactics really are to go for it themselves. They've got the firepower to do that. I hope it's a good game. I mean, as a neutral, you want to see a good game. You want to see goals. You don't want to see the teams cancel themselves out as they have done before with a 0-0 draw. So I'm looking forward to it. It's certainly a very big game early in the season.
Yeah, talking of big games, I think the next two managers of Southampton and Everton, if one of them gets beat, Steve, surely that could be the end of their jobs, the way they're going?
Well, again, it was interesting because obviously Southampton showed a lot of fight at City last week, and were probably, let's say, unlucky, but leading with and certainly level with not that long to go. So they've shown a little bit more about them because obviously they had to do something after that Leicester game. Everton, you just don't know what you're going to get with them. I mean, they didn't play all that well.
They were rubbish.
Tottenham. Yeah. I thought they would be better than they would be because they played well in their previous couple of games. But I think you're right. I think whoever loses that is in big trouble, especially with the international break coming. So
get on Southampton. Get on Southampton.
Well, I think you're right, and I think if either team lose, then I've just got a feeling. I mean, the Silver, I think, is under more pressure because there's a lot more expectation there. I mean, Southampton, it's more about staying up. Everton, they felt that they could be challenging the top six. So, I think if Southampton win, I think the Everton board have got some thinking to do before the international break.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, Burnley, West Ham.
Yeah, well, both teams. Burnley were really poor last week at Sheffield, and Sean Dyche just came out and apologised. And I think there'll be a reaction. I don't think they can. I don't think he's the sort of manager will let them sort of play like that a second time. West Ham have gone off the boil. No wins in a few. I can see the battle of the clarets here. I can see that either being a draw or possibly a home win.
Okay, and another big game this weekend is Leicester at home to Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, you would have thought, well, Arsenal could get something here, but I think Leicester are playing so well. They're playing with but they're also playing without fear. And I was very impressed with the way they played second half at Palace. They sit back, soak up pressure, scored a cracking second goal. I think Leicester will win this. I think Arsenal are just, with everything that's going on, I think Leicester will take advantage, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they win by a couple of goals.
Yeah. And the last one, Steve, Wolves, Aston Villa, second city derby.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's and Wolves, Wolves have come good. I think people were a little bit concerned at the beginning of the season. They were playing all these Europa League qualifiers, and it certainly affected their league form. But they certainly hit their straps a bit, and they've been playing well. Villa will probably count themselves a bit unlucky, sort of losing, especially going into the 87th minute, 1-0 up. Yeah. I think if Wolves don't pick up any injuries tonight, I think Wolves can win that. It'll be close, but I think they'll win that.
All right, Stephen, let's get on to the championship, where my boys Preston was sadly deposed at the top of the league on Monday night. Yeah. But it's a Brian Clough derby. Hopefully we've got it on. Forest too good?
It's a big game. Forest are sort of having a little bit of a wobble, but this is a big game. I mean, for both teams, this is the one that they don't want to lose. Yeah. I would be surprised if Derby won away at Forest. I don't think there's going to be a lot in it, but Forest might just be a little bit too strong. But as we said, they've had a bit of a wobble recently. They've dropped some points and fallen out of the sort of top two. So I think it's going to be close, but I think Forest might just edge that.
All right. Now, how are your boys Fulham going to react at Birmingham?
I hope they do, but to be honest, we don't have a great record there, and it was Birmingham that ended our 23-match unbeaten run 2 years ago. I can't see anything better than a draw for us there. The Birmingham have been quite strong at home. Yeah, they have. So I would probably take a draw. Want us to win, but there's something. I think we need a bit of a break, the international break, and hopefully recharge their batteries. We've got some tough games coming up afterwards, so draw wouldn't be the worst result.
Now, you witnessed Hull beating your boys 3-0 last week. How do you think they'll go at home against West Brom?
I thought Hull played very well. I mean, they rode the luck a little bit. Mitrovic had a couple of good chances, should have scored. But they've got a great young player, Jared Bowen, as we know, scored a tremendous second goal. Yeah. I mean, he just ran at the Fulham defence, and they just sort of it's like the passing of the Red Sea. He just ran through and buried it. But I was impressed. They defended very well and caught us on the break. But, West Brom just keep hanging on in there just when you think that they might be sort of slipping up. So I think it'll be close, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hull gets something out of the game.
Okay, now what about my Preston boys at home against Huddersfield?
Well,
where are you second?
You should. Yeah, I mean, you should win, but Huddersfield, since Danny Cowley has gone there, are unbeaten. So I think it'll be a close game. I think Huddersfield is showing a lot more fight. Yes. He's obviously gone in there and turned something round a bit. I mean, they haven't got a bad squad, Huddersfield, but they'd lost. They had no confidence. But the last few weeks they're showing some. So I think that's going to be closer than the league table suggests.
Okay, and last but not least, Sheffield Wednesday at home to Swansea.
Yeah, I mean, Wednesday, again, sort of funny team up and down. Swansea are better away from home, and they had a good win sort of last week. I wouldn't be at all surprised if either it's a draw or an away win there.
Okay, Stevie, that's outstanding. Steve, thanks very much. Let's hope it's a good weekend, better than last weekend, and I'm keenly waiting to see who you select in the last one standing, because your track record's morbid. But anyway,
absolutely. But I'm, I've got an idea, and I shall message Budge later.
All right,
Stevie, thanks as always. Thanks very much. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Budge, let's go Premiership.
Yep.
We've got our boards coming up now.
It kicks off on Friday, Paul. Relegation match. Pressure game for both teams, Paul. I just got a feeling that Watford are going to... they haven't been playing too bad, Paul. They could have sneaked in. While they didn't deserve to get a point against Chelsea, I just got a funny feeling that one of these days it's going to go for them. I'll be doing the bookings and the red card. I just think it's so much pressure. Yeah. Any result wouldn't surprise, but they've both got to go for it, Paul, because a draw doesn't suit anybody.
19 plays 20.
But having a bet, I would go Watford win and draw, Paul, but I don't think there'd be any value.
The London derby?
Yeah, I was really disappointed in Crystal Palace last week against Leicester. We had them in our bet. They just didn't look like it. They had moments, Paul. Every time they get into a decent league position and they should have a go, they seem to fall back. Yeah. Chelsea, they got roasted by Ajax on Wednesday. I know they scored goals, but Ajax roasted them. I just wonder if the exertions will take effect, especially with a lunchtime kickoff. Paul, it should be Chelsea, but I think both teams to score even money's a bet there, Paul.
Okay. I like Burnley.
Yeah, so do I, Paul. West Ham, the last couple of weeks, they got beat by Newcastle at home. They were 3-0 down and got 2 late goals.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, and we mentioned it last week. When they play the better teams, The better teams raise their game. I think there's too many players looking for moves, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, Anderson and Yarmolenko. I like Burnley, Paul. You know they're going to rebound after last week's disaster. 13-10's in our bets.
Newcastle United, Bournemouth.
You know, great result for them. I like Bournemouth of the two teams, Paul. United,
They're a good team.
They're a good team, Paul. On the counter, they're well organised at the back now.
They're seventh,
They're
Bournemouth.
seventh, Paul. You know, win and draw Bournemouth with there, Paul. I know all the Man United guys like Steve Bruce. He's done a good job for them. But lesser team, I don't like them. I fancy Bournemouth.
Okay, Southampton, Everton. I like Southampton.
So do I, Paul. You know, you just got to fear. But Everton score. You know, that's the only thing. Southampton, I think this is going to be a physical game, Paul.
You know, obviously they played Spurs last week, so I watched every minute of it. The ref erroneously sent Song off.
Yeah.
Suddenly they had a man advantage, and they threw everything at us, and it was the 97th minute. Because of that shocking injury, there was a lot of time added on, and rightly so.
Yeah.
But it could easily have been 1-0 to Spurs, and if Spurs weren't good...
Spurs, Bill, were terrible, and they were 1-0 up and cantering.
That's right, Spurs were not good as well. So I'm just disappointed. And that was Everton at home.
Yeah.
Now they're going away.
I agree, Paul. It's just that Southampton don't win at home.
Don't they?
No. Haven't won at home all year in the league.
Gee, that's an interesting stat. Okay, let's go on. Tottenham, Sheffield.
Yeah, it should be, but as you say, what Tottenham team's going to turn up? One thing you know about Sheffield United, they're street fighters, Paul.
I agree with you. I don't know. I don't think they've got the quality. You know, they've played brilliantly. They've beaten top sides. They've been outstanding. They've got Billy Sharp. But don't forget, I think, and you know, I've banged the Tottenham drum for a long time. Their performance last night, where the three players that they purchased, all played very, very well. Put pressure on. Ericsson shouldn't start. He's just going through a confidence, even though he got a goal, it was a deflection. You know, Winks, they shouldn't start. They've got to play Sissoko.
Alderweireld didn't start, but Tonga.
No, Dyer played very well. I'm still, the jury's out for me on Sanchez. I'd have Vertonghen ahead of Sanchez. Rose has a go. You know, and I'd play Foyt.
Yeah, so plays for Argentina right back. He can't play for Spurs.
I think that
this is a turnaround for your season, Paul. You don't get a result.
If we don't get 3 points here,
there's trouble in the camp.
There's serious trouble. I agree with you. Leicester, Arsenal,
I like
great
Leicester.
game.
I agree with Steve. You know what we saw last week. They're at
Possible,
home. You know, the thing is that Arsenal good going forward, Paul.
Very good. If they can get a
plenty
goal
of goals
or two,
in this, Paul.
This
is should be. I like Leicester, the two teams.
Is Ozil holding the place?
Well, he played. You know, he should start. Let's see this week. This is a big game because I think his job's also on the line. This Emery.
Absolutely.
Because you know, Paul, I think it's 7 points from 4th to 5th. You know, from so the gap's on Arsenal are Champions League contenders or top 4 anyway, and the fans are going off their head. And they drew last night in Portugal against a terrible team. So
Arsenal?
Arsenal, it was Wednesday night. I watched it.
Well, why wouldn't they play on a Thursday?
Don't know, but they got changed to Wednesday. That's why this
Leicester
said
game. To me, Arsenal drew. I said, no, they play Thursday night.
No, but they changed it to a Wednesday. So a terrible game. Was pouring, terrible pitch, 1-1.
Man United?
Paul, I think we'll win. You know, we mentioned last week, it was a hard game. We go to Chelsea on a Wednesday night, and we haven't got many players, so we played most of our best players.
What do you mean you go to Chelsea?
Well, last Wednesday night, we went to Chelsea in the League Cup. Now, you can imagine by the time they flew back or caught the train or bus, it would have been 3 in the morning. You don't train Thursday, Friday lunchtime, and then you go to Bournemouth, who are a dangerous team. The weather was poor. We never played well, Paul. We need creative midfield players like you cannot believe.
Yes.
And but I think at home against Brighton.
Brighton playing well.
Yeah, they do play well. They're a football
But I think United
team.
should win that. Another team, if they don't.
So we're not finishing top 6 from what I've seen.
Yeah, but Ollie's under extreme pressure. I don't care, you know.
Yeah, sure. Result-wise,
Yeah, result-wise. Okay.
I think we'll win easy.
Wolves, Aston Villa.
Well, I want to see, they play tonight in the Europa League. I want to see what team he plays, because the last time they played in the Europa League, he rested half of his main players, especially the Portuguese players, Matinho and Neves. This is a big game. I think you'll rest players again, Wolves. They went to Besiktas. I think they play them again at home tonight. I like Wolves of the two teams, but Aston Villa have a go, Paul. I've been really impressed with Dean Smith's done at Aston Villa. Both teams to score, but if I had to have a bet outright, it would be Wolves.
Liverpool, Man City.
Paul, I think they got the betting all wrong here. 17-10 Liverpool. Paul, their last 20 home league games have won 19 and drawn 1.
What price?
And that was Leicester. Man City 14-10 with that defensive problem at Anfield. Paul, the betting's the wrong way around. I
just think Liverpool aren't that good.
They're not playing well.
But they don't lose, you're right.
Paul, at Anfield's a different ball game, you know. Even Swivel, our late mate, he went there many a time when Man United were a great side. He said the atmosphere in big games is second to none.
Okay, but
and this is their league decider. They win this.
Be a bit. I'm going Man City.
Well, our money's on less. I'm Liverpool, Paul, but
Okay.
you're on.
Okay, then let's go to Championship, Budge.
Yeah.
Forest Derby, as you say.
Yeah, lunchtime
the
kick-off, Paul. You know, I like Forest. You know, Dawson didn't play last week, but they beat Luton. So I think they'll beat Derby. Derby away from home are terrible.
Okay.
I fancy 11-10. But it's a lunchtime kick-off, Paul.
Yeah.
It's the only thing. I don't really like doing my money too early, but it should be Forest.
You might be
all day.
winning your money too early. Barnsley, Stoke.
Paul, Barnsley haven't won since they beat Fulham in the opening game. They haven't won, I think it's 14 games. Stoke City are bottom of the league. Rory Delap, remember the long thrower? He's taken over. They got beat by West Brom. They never really played well, but they've got a lot of experience. And if ever there's a chance for them to get a result, it's at Oakwell against Barnsley. But it's Stoke and a draw for me there, Paul.
Birmingham City, Fulham.
Yeah, I like Birmingham, you know. But, you know, Fulham have got quality.
They got quality, yeah.
That's the difference. They can score goals, Paul. But Birmingham at home at St Andrews, this will be a tough game. You know, when he's obviously lost a bit of confidence in his team, but this is a hard game. You know, Birmingham a draw for me, but in the exotics, it should be all three.
Hull City, West Brom.
Well, I like West Brom, Paul. They don't get beat too often. Yeah, Charlie Austin up front. They got some real experienced campaigners. I think they can go to Hull City and win, Paul. 11-10. Tough game, but the top of the league for a reason.
Leeds, third against Blackburn.
Leeds won the last three at home, Paul. They're coming. Blackburn can't win a game. So, especially away from home, I like Leeds 4-10. Yeah, not the greatest of prices, but it should be Leeds all day.
Millwall, Charlton, is it London Derby?
London Derby, yeah. Now, Preston went and beat Charlton, apparently quite comfortable, according to my Preston people. I like Millwall, Paul. They've only lost one of their home games, the last 7. That was to QPR. Gary Rowett's taken over.
Yeah.
So I like Millwall. But with London derbies, you know, the form goes out the window. But Millwall all day for me there.
Your beloved?
Paul, you know, the best home record, 6 wins, 2 draws. You know, if we can't beat Huddersfield, you know, we're not automatic contenders, in my belief, as much as my Preston boys say we are. But, you know, we should be hopefully involved in the playoffs. If we can't,
a big win for you if you
8-10, Paul, I think is a good bet. Huddersfield haven't lost, I think it's 7 games, but a deep dale. You know,
what's the stadium like?
It's a great stadium, Paul. It's 25,000.
That's small, eh?
Great. That's Paul.
The old Dell.
That's how it's got to be. You know, we only fill it when you play Man City, Man United.
Yeah.
And when we were in League One, we had 12,000. Now we've got 16,000. So 2/3 full. But the way we're going, Paul.
When you get into Premier League, you'll
be chock-a-block. All the fans that
game
support
will be
Liverpool,
there.
Man United, and they'll be coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Preston
QPR, Middlesbrough.
I like QPR, Paul. You know, I think this guy could get fired next at Middlesbrough. Jonathan Woodgate. The last 8 games they haven't won. They scored 3 goals. You know, QPR score goals for fun. I think QPR will win.
Reading, Luton Town.
Yeah, Reading are unbeaten since Mark Bowen's taken over. They've won 2 and drawn 1. They beat Preston. At home, they should be too good for a Luton Town side. But Luton score goals, Paul. That's but 9-10 Reading.
19 playing 21. Right, sure. Then Wednesday in Swansea.
Yeah, this
Swansea
is a
4th.
Swansea cost me last week. I thought Wigan would get a result, and they scored at injury time. We went Wigan in the draw. I like Swansea again, Paul.
Okay, and then Wigan struggling against Brentford.
Yeah, Brentford were cruising. They'd won 3 in a row. Then they got beat 2-0 at home by Huddersfield. They're just an inconsistent team. I think the draw is a big player in that game, Paul. 24-10.
Cardiff City won at home the other day.
Yeah, Cardiff City, they're unbeaten at home, Paul. I think it's 5 wins and 2 draws at home. Bristol City don't get beat too often.
They're a good team. They're 6th.
Yeah, you know, they've drawn 5. They've only lost 1. I think it's 2 wins, 5 draws, and 1 defeat. But Cardiff at home, that looks a play, Paul.
Right, let's go PSL. The results during the week. Tuesday, Pirates, Maritzburg, no score.
0-0. Coming right, Eric Tinkler. They don't concede many goals, Maritzburg, Paul.
Yeah, I see Pirates had a guy sent off.
Yeah. But so happy Jelly. Yeah. And also Maritzburg got a guy sent off 10 minutes later. But
that's right, yes. And then Supersport, Golden Arrows, no score as well.
Paul, yeah, another draw for Supersport. They just, when you think they're going to put a run in, Paul, but Arrows are going well.
Yeah, they are going well.
Got them. They knocked them out in the cup on the Saturday. It's going well, Arrows.
Bloom 3, Highlands 1.
Yeah, 2 late goals, Paul. I thought Highlands would get something there, but Bloom Celtic, 2 goals, 3-1 victory.
Amazulu, big win.
Yeah, Paul, I fancied
2-0.
Beat Stellenbosch. Steve Barker had them going well. They'd scored 2 goals in the last 4 games. Hard to beat Amazulu, Paul, and Umlazi. Yeah, going well, Amazulu. They won their last 3.
Baraka, good home result to hold Sundowns. No score.
I watched quite a bit of it, Paul, because the Juventus game was at the same time. They play well against the big teams, Baraka. Sundowns had chances, but at the end of the day, obviously, you don't score, you don't win.
Cape Town City won 5-3. Benny's got the boot.
Benny got the bullet, yeah. I think they were 5-1 up. Scored 2 goals late. Yeah, you know, he did everything, Paul. I know he lost a few players. Don't be surprised if Pirates lose a few games if Benny ends up at Pirates, yeah.
Did he play for them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chipper United, Kaiser Chiefs 2-0.
Yeah, you know, Chiefs keep rolling along, Paul.
Yeah.
It was 15-10 on Tuesday, Kaiser Chiefs. Yeah,
but just giving you the league log, Kaiser Chiefs have 25 points.
Yeah.
They're 7 clear of Sundowns. We've got a game in hand.
Yeah.
Now, Bidvest have only had 6 matches.
They've been involved
15.
in a few CAF games, Paul, and obviously they weren't in the Telcom.
So they could get 12 to theirs. They could go in front if they won them all, but it's difficult.
Difficult, yeah.
Supersport, 14 points of 10. So Bidvest are doing all right. Supersport, Sundowns, sure. Okay, now the bottom. Always interesting at the bottom. It's normally a traffic jam there. Bottom of the log, Chipper United, 4 points. That's bad.
Paul, they drew 2-2 with Sundowns on Sunday, and the Telcom got beat on penalties. They fought hard last night, but to play Sunday, Wednesday, 2 hard games, they come to Amazulu Saturday night.
Yeah.
They're in trouble again, yeah.
Baraka, 9 points.
Yeah.
Black Leopards, 9 points.
Yeah.
They've got a game in hand over Baraka and Stellenbosch, who have 10 points.
Stellenbosch have come right. They're scoring goals now. I know they got beat last night, but Steve's got them.
Let's have a look at the fixtures. See what you think. Tell me your opinions.
2 Friday night games. You know, Supersport beat them 3-0 comfortably in the MTN quarterfinal, but they've drawn too many of late. You know, Bidvest haven't played for a while, Paul, other than in the CAF Champ, in the Confederations Cup. But I think a draw's a player there, Paul.
Okay. Maritzburg?
I like Maritzburg, Paul. 11-10 at home. You know, we've all played at the Harry Gwala Stadium. They haven't lost in 5. You know, they've come right in. They've won their last 3 league games
They've got
at
a
home.
good following, Budge?
Yeah, you know, it's a small stadium, Harry Gwala, but, you know, when they're winning, the people come. But I think it's 5,000-6,000 every year. I haven't really had a look.
Yeah.
Spoke to Quinton yesterday, who's a general manager. He's a punter.
Yeah.
So he says they're going well. Confidence is up. Drew 0 at Pirates, great result.
Yeah.
They'll come out firing. I think they'll be too good for Celtic.
The big derby?
It's going well for Chiefs, but their play was 2-2 last week. They haven't beaten Pirates in 13 games. 8 draws and 5 victories for Pirates.
Sure.
So they're all shouting the Chiefs supporters, but if ever there's a chance, Paul, this is it.
This is it, yeah.
18-10.
Stellenbosch need to beat
I
Highlands.
like Stellenbosch here, Paul. You know, Highlands just seem to, since they got beaten the Telcom knockout final, they seem to have fallen away. Stellenbosch, Steve's got them right. I think they've grown into the league. You know, they started off without scoring. Now they've come right. Stellenbosch in a draw for me there, Paul.
Polokwane, Baraka?
Yeah, Paul, just don't know. You know, Polokwane, they beat Chiefs. I watched them beat Chiefs because I
They're
backed Chiefs on the day. Nice side. But Baraka, one of those inconsistent sides, Paul. Both teams to score would be my play in that because I think it's a bit of a derby.
Amazulu at 12th now.
I like Amazulu, Paul. Chipper struggling, 13-10, Amazulu all day.
Black Leopards, Cape Town City.
Well, after Benny got fired, you know, everyone thought that was going to be the demise, but they scored 5 goals last night. So
without Benny.
Without Benny. So you know, Black Leopards battled to score, but I think a draw is a player there, Paul.
Sundowns will beat Arrows?
Well, they should do, but Golden Arrows are going well. You know, Sundowns have drawn their last few, but you know, it could be an upset there, Paul. Steve Compella's got his boys firing, but it's hard to really back against Sundowns, but I wouldn't be taking 8-10.
All right, tell me about your Soccer 6 pools.
Yeah, we kick off with the English Soccer 6. I've bankered Burnley to beat West Ham.
I'm with you.
I've gone the Bournemouth win and draw at Newcastle. I've gone the field in the Southampton-Everton game. I've gone win and draw. I've looked for an upset. I had to have them on by Wednesday lunchtime, so you know, people would more than likely bank at Tottenham, but I don't trust them just yet. So I've thrown the draw in with Tottenham and Sheffield United.
When does Tottenham play?
It's 5 o'clock.
On Saturday?
Saturday, yeah. I've gone the field in the Sheffield Wednesday Swansea game, and I think Leicester will beat Arsenal 2-1-6.
And the next one?
Second one is the South African one. I've done the field in the Chiefs Pirates game, sitting on the fence. I don't see Stellenbosch losing at home to Highlands Park. I've gone Tottenham win and draw at home against Sheffield United. I've gone the field in the Polokwane City Baraka game, and I've ended up with 2 bankers: Amazulu to beat Chipper and Leicester to beat Arsenal 2-1-6.
All right, how about the 10?
On to the 10, First game is the Orlando Derby. I've gone the field with Chiefs Pirates. I've gone Stellenbosch win and draw at home against Highlands. I've bankered Burnley to beat West Ham. I've gone Bournemouth win and draw at Newcastle. I've gone Southampton win and draw at home against Everton. Our second page, I've bankered Tottenham to beat Sheffield United. I've gone the field in the Sheffield Wednesday Swansea City game. I've gone Polokwane City win and draw at home against Baraka, and ended up with Leicester beating Arsenal and Amazulu beating Chipper 288.
Okay, the big 13. What's
13.
the closest we've got? Both
Well, as a
12.
carrier, we've had 12 about 7 times.
Yeah,
you know?
and many 12s. You just can't close the
Can't.
door.
There's always one nightmare result that buries us. Our bank had Tottenham to beat Sheffield United. Likewise, Leicester to beat Arsenal. I've gone Bournemouth win and draw at Newcastle. I've gone Southampton win and draw at home against Everton. I've banked Burnley to beat West Ham. I've gone the field in the Birmingham City Fulham clash. I've banked West Brom to win at Hull City.
Okay.
Our second page, I've gone the field in the Sheffield Wednesday Swansea City game. I've banked Leeds to beat Blackburn. I've gone Millwall win and draw at home against Charlton. I've banked QPR to beat Middlesbrough. Reading to beat Luton. I've gone the field in the Wigan Brentford fixture, 367.
Okie dokie. That's now we come to the best bets.
Yeah, but on to our bets, Paul. I've gone Burnley to beat West Ham. And I'm going with Liverpool to beat Man City. And I'm going over 3.5 goals in the Leicester City Arsenal game, 2,900 to 200. On to the Championship. I've gone Preston to beat Huddersfield. I've gone Queen's Park Rangers to beat Middlesbrough. I've gone Cardiff City to beat Bristol City and over 2.5 total goals. And I'm siding with Wigan Athletic to get to win or draw at home against Brentford.
Okay.
17 to 1, so it's 3,400 to 200. A PSL quartet, I've gone Maritzburg to beat Bloem Celtic. I've gone Amazulu to beat Chippa. And I've gone both teams to score in the Kaizer Chiefs Orlando Pirates and Black Leopards Cape Town City matches. 4,000 to 200. English both teams to score sides are Chelsea Crystal Palace.
I hope it didn't let us down again.
Away from home, I think it'll be slightly better.
Stick one in the net.
You know, Southampton Everton, Barnsley Stoke, Birmingham Fulham, and Notts Forest Derby County, 3,000 to 200.
Okay.
Spanish treble this week, no more the omelette. I've gone Getafe to beat Osasuna. I've gone Athletic Bilbao to beat Levante and both teams to score. And I've gone over 2.5 goals in the Valencia-Granada game, 3,000 to 200. And our Collis King 6 on Exa, I've gone Leicester to beat Arsenal, Man United to beat Brighton. I've gone Leeds to beat Blackburn. I've gone Amazulu to beat Chippa. I've gone Athletic Bilbao to beat Levante. And I've gone Atletico Madrid to beat Espanyol, 5,500. There were two teams. You had the Amazulu and Leicester game, Paul. They upped the odds quite substantially. So
okay.
Nice odds.
Best bet of the weekend.
Paul, I know people think I'm crazy. I'm going Amazulu.
Okay.
You know, like what I've seen, they've won the last 3. And I've watched Chippa the last 2 games. They've had 2 hard games, Paul. Small squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't get beaten in Mlazi Amazulu. 13 to 10, Paul. The other team I looked at was Getafe, but they're playing the Europa League tonight. And I think because they're under pressure, they're going to play their best team. Because that was going to be my best bet. But I changed. They're playing Osasuna. I think they'll win, but, you know, I'm just worried about
I'm worried about your value
Well,
bet.
Paul, it has to be Liverpool. 17 to 10, Liverpool. I think they were 2 to 1 to beat Barcelona last year.
Yeah.
17 to 10, Liverpool anywhere, and against any team in England, Paul.
Big price.
Is a big price. So that's my value. I just, you know, I hope I'm wrong as a Man United, but when I'm putting my money down, Paul, it's a different ball game. So Liverpool's my value.
All right, there we go. Just make sure you get your last one standings in. We've cut it down now. Another 55 or so went. It's 200 odd left. It's getting very interesting because most guys have gone for Man City and Liverpool.
Yep.
But now they've got to start thinking.
There's a few shrewdies. You know, Raymond Horn, he's played great. You know, he's thrown a couple curveballs. The guys that have used Liverpool, Man City, I think it'll all be on Chelsea this week.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
all right, guys. Until next time, stay on side.